Hey, what's up? The new WHQL driver 595.79 landed on March 10th, 2026, and it's the kind of update that bundles a couple of targeted game optimizations with fixes that have been simmering in the background for a few weeks now. At the top of the list, you've got official game-ready support for two big releases, Crimson Desert and Death Stranding 2 on the beach. The notes specifically call out DLSS 4 enhancements and multi-frame generation where applicable, which means NVIDIA is bringing the latest neural rendering boosts to games that are built to take advantage of them. That's the main selling point for anyone chasing higher frame rates without losing too much visual fidelity. File size varies a little depending on the package you download, but the Windows installer clocks in around the 900 megabyte mark, so make sure you've got a decent connection before you hit download. What's interesting about this release is that it's being presented as a WHQL certified build, which for many people signals a higher level of testing compared with hotfixes. That's notable because a couple of recent 595 series builds prompted some real user concern around fan and voltage behavior, and NVIDIA clearly aimed to fold the individual hotfix fixes into a more certified package this time. Beyond the headline game support, the changelog lists several targeted bug fixes. A couple of those are worth calling out because they were actually affecting folks in real sessions. There's a fix for a crash when launching Crimson Desert on some of the R595 drivers, and another fix that addresses white glowing light or dots appearing in Resident Evil Requiem when subsurface scattering was enabled. Those sound specific, but if you were running into either issue, they could make the difference between a playable session and something that's constantly crashing or rendering oddly. If you've been following the driver saga over the last month, you'll remember a hotfix, version 595.76, that tried to tackle path tracing performance problems and a GPU voltage capping bug that cropped up for some overclocked cards. The conversations in forums and on news sites made it pretty clear that NVIDIA wanted to get those fixes into a more broadly tested WHQL build sooner rather than later, and that's effectively what this release represents, the hotfix fixes plus some additional polish. There's a subtle but important distinction between what a hotfix is for and what a WHQL release is for. Hotfixes are fast, targeted, and sometimes a little light on the deeper QA because they're trying to solve one or two critical problems quickly. A WHQL release, by contrast, aims to be the stable baseline for a wider audience. That's why you'll see language around incorporated all the fixes from the hotfix. It's exactly what happened here. For people who are conservative about driver updates, that WHQL badge can be the green light they've been waiting for. From a creator and gamer perspective, the inclusion of DLSS 4 and multi-frame generation notes is a reminder of how NVIDIA is trying to push frame rate improvements through AI-based upscaling and predictive frame generation. Where games implement those features well, the experience can feel smoother without the same hit to visual detail that you used to expect from older upscaling methods. That said, real-world benefits still depend heavily on how a particular game integrates the tech and on your GPU generation. The driver provides the plumbing, the game supplies the taps that let it flow. A couple of practical details that matter to the audience. The driver is listed as supporting Windows 10 and Windows 11, and the package sizes vary slightly by the specific download you pick, but plan for roughly a gigabyte. The release information and official notes are published on NVIDIA's driver pages, and the GeForce news post that highlights the game optimizations, and you'll find mirrored coverage and the full changelog on several gaming news outlets for easier reading. I'll be honest about the community's sentiment. Forums and threads have been picking through the release, with some users confirming the fixes and others keeping an eye out for anything unusual. That's normal after a cluster of rapid updates. Some people will test and report, and that collective feedback helps shape the next cycle. If you were following reports of voltage or fan anomalies, this build is explicitly built to include those earlier fixes in a WHQL package, which is the whole point of rolling the hotfix changes in. All in all, this release feels like a consolidation step. It brings official game optimizations for two big titles, wraps in prior hotfix fixes for stability and overclocking concerns, and ships as a WHQL certified driver that's intended to be the more stable option for everyday users. The technical improvements matter most when the game you're playing actually uses them, but the assorted bug fixes are the kind of behind-the-scenes maintenance that keeps the system feeling reliable.